From Channel 5 KSDK St. Louis, where the news comes first, this is News Channel 5 at 10.
As thousands of motorists hit the road for the Memorial Day weekend, police step up their war on drunk driving. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Edlund.
And I'm Dan Gray. Karen Foss has the night off tonight. The Memorial Day weekend began at 6 o'clock this evening, and this weekend, traffic safety experts say up to a dozen Missourians could be killed in highway accidents.
And many of those accidents will be alcohol-related. News Channel 5's Mike Owens watched tonight as the Highway Patrol took one suspected drunk driver off the road.
Drivers, they're exceeding the speed limit.
Missouri Highway Patrol Corporal Hubert Looney was showing us around his part of St. Louis County this evening for a story on drinking, driving, and the holiday weekend. We were loaded into an unmarked patrol car, fully equipped, of course, with radar gear and the necessary red lights. But the speeders paid very little attention to the unmarked Ford.
This lady right here is driving 63 miles an hour and could care less about what's around her. She's not looked at the rearview mirror. She's not looked about. She's driving in the wrong lane. She should be over to the right. She could care less. She's driving it. Oh, now she's on the phone.
Later, we parked just off the east end of the Blanchette Bridge heading into St. Louis County. The cars were whizzing by. That's when a motorist flagged us down to tell us about a pickup truck that was weaving all over the road. And then we were off.
Following a pickup, suspect DWI. Okay, if you can watch this guy's driving, it's obvious that there's something wrong with him.
Corporal Looney slalomed through the heavy I-70 traffic to catch up with the pickup truck, being driven very dangerously, almost striking a guardrail, then a semi. Following the chase eastbound on 70 after the pickup truck, the driver of the truck finally pulled over at the St. Charles Rock Road exit, parked on the exit ramp, got out of the truck, and the trooper knew right then that he didn't have to do a blood test to find out the driver was drunk. The man could barely stand up. The driver did not put up any resistance. Although Looney was warned by radio, he might. Almost immediately, the suspect was cuffed by the trooper. A check of the man's arrest record showed he had 2 previous DWIs on his record. He was wanted in St. Charles County, and his driver's license was revoked. By the time Looney drove the man to the Highway Patrol headquarters for booking, he fell fast asleep in the front passenger seat of the car. Mike Owens, News Channel 5.
As of a few minutes ago, the suspect was still being booked, and at last report, he had refused to take a breathalyzer test. On the other side of the river, some encouraging news on teens and drinking. Illinois police say they arrested 10% fewer teens last year for drinking and driving. Secretary of State George Ryan says the figures show kids are getting the message that drinking and driving can kill. Despite the drop, police still arrested more than 48,000 teens for drinking and driving.
Well, the roads aren't the only place you can be arrested for drunk driving. It's illegal to drink while operating a boat as well. Barring torrential rain over the holiday weekend, the Missouri State Water Patrol expects heavy traffic on area rivers and lakes. Patrol officers are warning boaters to keep a close watch on water traffic to avoid collisions. They say accidents are even more likely when it is raining.
You might have just 2 boats out, which has happened several times, and they run into each other, which are bad accidents. So we need to prepare and to remember that somebody else is out there in the rain with you. Turn those lights on. Lights are not only for dark, but they're also for the weather conditions.
Corporal McDaniel says the best way to prevent tragedy is to always wear a life belt on a boat. Several veterans groups and civics organizations are busy today preparing for the Memorial Day weekend. Workers at the Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery made sure everything was in order for the weekend ceremonies. Thousands of scouts will place American flags on the grave sites. The formal Memorial Day services will begin at 10 o'clock Monday morning. The cemetery staff says it's prepared for a lot of visitors.
This weekend, like I said, Memorial Day weekend, the program itself, there's normally 4,000 to 5,000 people here, and it's a never-ending flow of traffic through the cemetery.
And Memorial Day travel is expected to be heavy throughout the weekend.
Well, holiday travelers passing through Chicago's O'Hare Airport should feel a little more secure about their luggage. FBI agents busted a major baggage robbery scam following a 3-year investigation dubbed Operation Ramp Check. 17 baggage handlers have been charged in federal court with baggage theft. Authorities found more than $250,000 worth of goods ranging from jewelry to guns to computers and cash.
That this was a multi-dimensional thievery plan that got together and preyed on passengers that were coming through O'Hare.
An undercover FBI agent worked as a baggage handler to dig up the evidence. Well, a judge in Los Angeles has set a new trial date for one of the officers accused of beating black motorist Rodney King.
And police officer Lawrence Powell's retrial is now set for October 19th in Los Angeles. Superior Court Judge Stanley Weisberg decided today that there's nothing to be gained by moving the trial to another county. Powell's lawyer argued that it will be impossible for the officer to get a fair trial in Los Angeles. Powell was one of 4 white officers acquitted last month in the beating of motorist Rodney King. That touched off 2 days of rioting.
Our belief is that the only politically correct decision in this county is that of guilty. For a juror to vote to acquit is to invite more rioting and to court personal risk with respect to their own personal safety.
Powell's lawyer plans to go to a higher court to get that trial moved. The St. Louis Circuit Attorney George Peach is struggling tonight just to keep his law license. Peach has been under investigation by the Missouri Supreme Court after he admitted trying to hire a prostitute. Peach stresses he clearly was not convicted. He says he should not lose his law license because he has suffered enough. Critics are calling Peach's defense not believable.
This is cute. What you call legal semantics. I mean, this is double talk. Mr. Peach has pleaded guilty to patronizing a prostitute. He did go to court and said, I plead guilty. I mean, and now this is garbage. It's a waste of his time, his lawyer's time, and the people's time.
And George Peach will be leaving office in December since he decided not to run for re-election.
Jobs are coming to an end in December for some 150 Mallinckrodt workers in Missouri and Illinois. Mallinckrodt Medical is closing this plant in New Athens, Illinois in 6 months. About 80 workers will lose their jobs there. Another plant will be shut down in New Haven, Missouri at the same time. Some of the New Athens workers are not encouraged by management's promise of help in finding new jobs.
They keep telling us, oh, well, we'll help you. They're not going to help us. They don't care about us. All they care about is sending us to Mexico. And what the hell is wrong with America? We need America to stay together. We don't need to send our work to Mexico.
They said that there's going to be jobs in Maryland Heights, they're going to, get some jobs there. I don't think so, because you really have to have, good backgrounds, education, some college.
The company says the closings will cover a period of several months and will not be abrupt.
History is being made in Burbank, California tonight.
A television giant is taking his final bow. Next, we'll have all the hoopla of Johnny's last hurrah.
I'm Julie Beard, live in Clayton at a pajama party, a big farewell, a sentimental tribute to Johnny Carson. That story coming up.
This is John Pertzborn, and here's a question for you. Who's the king of the road? This guy or this guy?
Johnny Carson arrived at Burbank Studios today to end an era.
Now, the king of late-night TV taped his final episode of The Tonight Show this afternoon. An invitation-only audience heard the famous Here's Johnny for the last time. No guests were featured in tonight's show, but faithful sidekick Ed McMahon and band leader Doc Severinsen shared memories of Carson's 30 years in television. A party will be held for the Tonight Show staff at Carson's Malibu home after the show. And Johnny Carson had a reputation of being reclusive, a very private man. But when a friend of his asked him to do a favor at the last minute and come to St. Louis for a benefit, he responded immediately. The friend was Frank Sinatra, the benefit was for Dismas House, and the year was 1965. This was one of the few trips Johnny made to St. Louis. Even then, he wasn't the original choice as Master of Ceremonies.
Joey Bishop was supposed to be there, but instead Johnny came on.
Actually, what happened, Joey slipped a disc backing out in Frank's presence.
Lois Furnaw of Florissant was in the audience that night.
I couldn't believe how short he was.
She still has the program from that show called the Frank Sinatra Spectacular. It came with an insert showing Johnny as a last-minute fill-in MC. Carson had only been doing The Tonight Show for about 2.5 years when he appeared in the star-studded St. Louis show.
Would you welcome Mr. Sammy Davis, Jr.
Amidst the stars of Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, and Frank Sinatra, Johnny at the time was at best an unofficial member of the Rat Pack.
We really didn't know Johnny at that time until he came to St. Louis and performed there. And then all of a sudden when he started appearing on TV, it was like, wow, I saw him,
And I don't have one commercial.
That benefit raised a lot of money for Dismas House that night, a halfway house for prisoners. It's still in operation here in St. Louis. Johnny was part of a memorable evening for a lot of St. Louisans that night in June of '65.
Well, the memories will last, and so will this tribute to Johnny Carson in Los Angeles.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny.
With Tonight Show producer Freddie DeCordova doing the honors, a life-size statue of Johnny Carson was unveiled today at the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. Johnny Carson had a previous engagement and couldn't attend, but his statue should last for at least the next 30 years. Well, for many Americans, Johnny Carson's Tonight Show is part of a nightly ritual. Following the news, people watched Johnny Carson and then went to bed.
So, a man in Clayton decided to give the king of late night the proper send-off. News Channel 5's Julie Beard is in Clayton now at a Johnny Carson pajama party. Julie.
Dan and Rick, for nearly 30 years, people have been going to bed with this guy, so what better way to say goodbye than in your pajamas? That's the idea that Lee and Harvey Shapiro have had. I understand that you gave Johnny an invitation to this party. He turned you down?
He did not RSVP.
Oh.
We haven't heard from Johnny. We're hurt.
All right. Well, that's tough. Now, this guy here, Harold Levy, told me he's been watching Johnny for 35 years until I told him he's only been on the air about 30 years. Harold, what are you going to miss the most?
Well, Johnny's humor, his interviewing of his guests, making us all laugh, sometimes making us cry like he did last night. A lot of fun with Johnny over these past 30 years. We really enjoyed him.
Joyce Koski, I think you probably put it best. You said this guy is just not an entertainer. He's pretty talented.
Very talented, and not only that, his interviews with young people, children, and older people was always wonderful, not just with celebrities.
All right. He's going to be missed here. I have to ask probably the most important question to Bert Schweitzer. Bert, could you stand up? Could we get a good view of Bert? Bert, the most important question tonight is, do you really watch Johnny in this moo-moo?
Oh, yeah, nightly. And the thing that we're sad about, the changes this is going to make in our bedroom. I mean,
I'll leave Bert. That's enough. Sit down, please. I'll leave that right there. So, in Clayton, at a great farewell party, Julie Beard reporting live.
A fitting honor for Johnny Carson tonight, I think.
Good idea to leave it right there.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you very much. Well, if you don't know by now, you certainly should. Johnny Carson's last show is going to show up at 10:35 right after this newscast.
All right. Some rough weather rumbled through the St. Louis area this afternoon. Scott Connell will tell us about it and when it will clear out.
And then John Persborn found a celebrity road show on the roadside. Stay with us.
Well, this afternoon, severe weather did more than inconvenience a woman who lives in the Baldwin area.
Baldwin firefighters say they believe lightning sparked a fire that destroyed a home on St. Paul Road. This two-bedroom home was gutted by fire during the electrical storm. Firefighters received a call from someone who spotted smoke. When they finally traced the source, they found the home engulfed in flames. The Baldwin fire chief says the house had no lightning rods.
Well, everybody's interested in the weather for the Memorial Day holiday weekend. Bob Richards has already started his holiday weekend,
Yes, he
so
has.
Scott Connell's here.
And it looks like
pressure's on you.
Okay,
Bob
that's right.
now.
He's passing the baton, and it looks like we're going to have a pretty good weekend for most of the weekend. Tomorrow's the one exception. Tomorrow's going to be our day where we'll see some rain. Let's look outside, show you what's going on right now. Most of the rain diminishing across the area, but the ball game's still going on. That rain held things up this evening at Busch Stadium, but the game is underway this evening, and as we have right now some clouds across the area. Still some showers scattered far to the south of St. Louis right now, but in the metro area, things drying out, a little bit of fog. 67 degrees with partly cloudy skies officially at Lambert Field. The relative humidity at 90%, winds out of the south at 7. And the high temperature today, 81 degrees. The low this morning was down to 67, and that's also our current temperature. As we look at the satellite pictures over the past 24 hours, you can see the cloud cover. This morning, it was mainly confined right along the Mississippi River and to the east. But during the afternoon hours, in the heat of the afternoon, big thunderstorms firing up, moving across the area, some spots getting as much as an inch or so of rain in a very short amount of period of time because of these intense showers and thunderstorms. Out to the west, another line of showers and storms is starting to fire up and continuing as a cold frontal system is now advancing across the plains. This is going to be our weather maker for tomorrow And as we head into the weekend, it is going to change the weather patterns that we have been seeing the past few days and bring us a major change in our weather by the time we end the holiday weekend. Right now, this cold frontal system about ready to come into northwest Missouri. Out ahead of that, regional radar showing the scattered showers and the thunderstorms. Also over West Texas, some very heavy thunderstorms there. That activity will continue throughout the night, and overnight that front will get close to us. Tomorrow it will actually be passing through the area. As it does so, tomorrow, once again, we're in a warm, humid air mass with the front coming through. Lots of showers and thunder showers are possible across the area. But then high pressure from Canada will start to build in, and as that high pressure builds in, it's going to drag some cooler air in from Canada, and by Sunday, it becomes much drier, much cooler across the area. Right now, we're expecting temperatures in the low 70s. There is a possibility temperatures, because this air mass is going to be so cool, may not get out of the 60s on Sunday, but with partly sunny skies, it should be a refreshing change. Showers and thunder showers should be confined further to the south. More of the same on the way for Monday. High pressure settling in across the northern portions of the region. That will keep us fairly pleasant with relatively comfortable temperatures close to the 70-degree mark and partly sunny skies. All the rain, again, should be confined well to our south throughout most of the holiday weekend, the exception being tomorrow. Tonight, just a few lingering showers in a few spots. Most of the activity dying down. A lot of clouds will remain. The possibility of a little bit of patchy fog as well. Temperatures only falling another degree or two. Now, tomorrow, look for mostly cloudy skies. We will see showers and thunder showers developing across the area, especially mid-morning into the mid-afternoon hours. Some of the showers and storms could have some heavy downpours. A midday high around 77. It'll start to cool off, though, in the afternoon as winds switch to the northwest at about 10 miles per hour. Sun index tomorrow only about a 3. For the next 5 days, tomorrow the grayest day of the weekend as we head into Sunday, partly sunny skies. Right now we'll call it low 70s, about 73 degrees on Sunday. May not get out of the upper 60s though. Monday more of the same with a good deal of sunshine. Tuesday looks okay, and Wednesday looks pretty nice as well as we change our weather pattern from the 80s back down into the 70s. So a bit of a refreshing change as we head through the Memorial Day weekend.
Good for that Monday holiday.
Yes.
Welcome cool weather.
Yes.
Thanks, Scott.
You bet.
Well, if you happen to be on Highway 70 today in Wright City, then maybe you saw him.
And there he was, standing on stage with two beautiful women. John Pertzborn says it was the king. Well, kind of the king.
Yeah, I hear that Elvis song he'll hear. Yeah, okay.
Truck drivers depend a lot on CB radios. They keep them from getting lonely and warn them of danger. And when they're on Highway 70, it gives them a chance to speak with Elvis Presley and two Marilyn Monroes.
Breaker 19, you got the king here?
Phew! What an eye-opener. Come on.
Hey, come on out here and see us here at the 50s Cafe and Arcade. We got burgers, 49 cents.
You're standing up there with Elvis. That proves that the king is alive.
This classic scene is the latest scam to draw customers into Bill Beanie's 50s Cafe. And the result?
Well, one trucker ran off the road, kicked up some gravel, and he got his rig straightened out and said a few things that we won't repeat on TV.
And speaking of TV,
we have a film, a documentary proving that Elvis is alive and well, and I think that he would like that.
And in another corner, a recent recording of the King's voice.
I guess about 2 years ago, I went to Europe.
Elvis, your mentor will be coming in any day now, and you know and I know that he's alive, and we'll be looking for his appearance.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time.
And after a few greasy Elvis burgers, it's back outside to watch the show.
Ah, but what happens if one of the Elvis impersonators calls in sick? Well, Bill's got a plan. In the back, he keeps an Elvis wig and some Elvis glasses, just in case.
Where can you go and see two good-looking girls out on a platform with a big Elvis and an Elvis that looks like a real Elvis? You can't go nowhere.
Breaker 19 for you westbound 18-wheeler. We got the two girls right here with me, and this is the king, so come on down here to the 50s Cafe. Yeah.
In Wright City, Missouri, I'm John Pertzborn, News Channel 5.
Breaker 19, this is the king. By the way, that Elvis is really Steve Davis of St. Louis, just one of the many Elvises talking to truckers at the 50s Cafe.
Good. Do we really need an 18-foot Elvis out there?
I don't know. Surprised there aren't more auto accidents out there. The Cardinals open a 9-game homestand tonight. Malcolm Briggs is next with sports.
And the Blackhawks try to set a new National Hockey League record. All next in sports.
Well, as you've already heard, there was a little delay over at Busch Stadium tonight, and now I understand we need a rally, huh? What are you doing here?
Short delay.
Short delay, right.
I know you're probably thinking something
else. That's an hour there, huh?
At least an hour. Good evening, everyone. Top spot in the National League East hangs in the balance. A Redbird win and a Pirates loss gives the Cards the lead. The weather proved to be the early winner, at least for an hour and a half. That was the rain delay. But when they did get underway, Jose De Leon was all wet. He walked the first two batters and allowed 2 runs on 1 hit. And right now in the 6th, it could be much worse. It's just 3-1 with Houston on top. Hopefully the Cards can rally. Now, prior to tonight's game, the Cards put Pedro Guerrero on the 15-day disabled list. Pete's nursing a serious shoulder problem. Roster-wise, that works out great for Joe Torre because after 7 weeks on the mend, the big cat is back. Andres Galarraga is ready to take over the duties at first base. Galarraga's been out since April the 7th with a broken wrist. During his rehab assignment down in Louisville, the cat wasn't swinging the stick very well, but Joe Torre isn't concerned.
We just want him to go through the, to play in some competitive games and maybe get a few under his belt where he feels a little more confident going out there and hitting against the pitcher as opposed to batting practice. We hope he's ready. We think he is, and, we're happy to have him back.
National League action from tonight, the Braves and Expos. That's Felipe Alou starting out the right way as a manager. Bottom of the 6th, Ivan Calderon rips one to right center. Deion Sanders just about gets there, but Marquise Grisham will score. Dennis Martinez with the 2-hitter tonight. The Expos over the Braves, the final 7-1. National League scoreboard looks like this. The Phillies win their 3rd straight, the final 8-2 there. In the 4th, Chicago and San Diego have yet to get on the board. The Mets lead the Giants in the 2nd, and in the 3rd, Pitt, the team that has a half-game lead on the Cards, is up on the Dodgers. In the American League tonight, the Twins and Tigers, bottom of the 2nd, Rob Deere goes to left, a 2-run blast, number 12 for Mr. Deere. Then in the 6th, why not pad your statistics, Mr. Deere? Go yard again, another long ball. By the way, Cecil Fielder picks up his first dinger and 65 at-bats in this game as well as the Tigers go over the Twins, the final 6-3. Junior circuit, the American League looks like this. Milwaukee and New York knotted up in the 10th. The Orioles end a 4-game skid as they beat California. The A's pick up their 4th straight as they beat Boston. Toronto on top of Chicago. In the 8th, Texas. Kansas City, Rick, I'm sure you really don't appreciate that. But in the 3rd, Cleveland and Seattle have yet to get on the board. Montreal Expos manager Tom Runnels is now unemployed. Today he was fired after being on the scene for just under a year. This season, under Runnels' management, the Expos were 3 games under 500 and in 4th place behind the Pirates. Felipe Alou, as we said earlier, replaces him as skipper. He had been the club's bench coach. On the ice tonight, the Chicago Blackhawks had a chance to slide into the hockey books, or the history book, that is. Up 3-0 in the Campbell Conference Finals. They were looking for their 11th straight playoff win. In Edmonton tonight against the Oilers, first period, no score. Steve Smith starts in his own end, splits the defense. Bill Ranford's going to shut him down, but look out, Rob Brown's there. Net, 1-0 Hawks. And right now in the 2nd, the Hawks are shelling the Oilers. Get this. 5-0. Ooh, that is ugly. Changing up gears right now. Still on the playoff tip, we change up gears and talk about basketball. In the NBA postseason, it continues as Utah is getting it on against Portland. The Jazz playing the Blazers. Portland started this game up 2-0 in the Western Conference Finals. Let's go to the Salt Palace. Check this one out. The gorilla on hand trying to keep the Jazz from falling 3 straight times. First half, Clyde Drexler misses, and here comes the Jazz on the run. Jeff Malone, the soft baseline jumper. Cotton, Jazz over the Blazers, the final 97-89. The Blazers lead the series 2-1. Chicago tomorrow, Cleveland right here on this station at 2 o'clock. You want to catch it.
Who are you picking?
The Bulls, because they stunk it up last night.
Boy, didn't
Gotta
they?
go with him.
Thanks, Mel.
You bet.
All right. Well, anything that's been around for 30 years sparks some great memories.
And next, we're going to remember some of Johnny Carson's best. Stay with us. Finally tonight, you're about to see history, the final episode of The Tonight Show. Now, if you're getting ready, or the Johnny Carson Tonight Show, I should say, if you're getting your VCR ready, you should know the show went 2 minutes longer than usual.
And with that piece of business aside, a look back at the best of Carson now. For 30 years, he's put us to bed. Tonight, we say goodnight.
Make it one for my baby and one